Hey everyone, good Monday evening to you. It is weather for Weather Geeks time. Hope you had a good weekend. Yesterday was an interesting day. It actually kind of felt like late September at times yesterday. We had a gusty wind. It wasn't exactly cool. It was in the 70s and it was still pretty muggy, but with that wind and with the stratocumulus clouds around, it didn't feel much like early August, and it stood in stark contrast to a lot of our weather, of course, this summer season. Let's review today's numbers before we get to the current weather this evening. Today was a pretty typical August 3rd. Temperature-wise, very close to the averages, both on the low end and the high end. 60 is our average, 60 was our low, our average high is 81, we did 82. Earlier on today, the records on today's date, 97 and 48. Time-lapse from Youngstown today. We started with some fog in some of the river valleys this morning, but that burned off, and we had a decent amount of sunshine for a while, and then the clouds started to win the battle more and more as we got through the afternoon. These eventually started to produce some showers with some rumbles of thunder here and there as well. And this is the radar as of 6:24 this evening. We do have some claps of thunder in western Mahoning County. Let's actually zoom in on our local area here. We're getting some bouts of heavy rain right around Craig Beach, Lake Milton, heading down close to the Sebring area and then heading north towards Newton Falls and Warren. We've had some locally brief heavy downpours over in Mercer County as well. This cluster of showers with thunder may be producing some very localized minor flooding issues because we've probably picked up a pretty decent amount of rain here in just a matter of a couple of hours. When we look at the radar estimates, just a real quick and dirty estimate here of what we've seen so far this afternoon. Northwestern corner of Mahoning County, maybe an inch or so worth of rain as of this recording at about 6:25. This evening, it is muggy out there. Dew points are in the 60s. It's not like it was at times last week when dew points were in the 70s, but it's still pretty humid out there. This humid air is going to get swept away, though. That's going to be our big story as we go through tomorrow night and through the rest of the week. That lower dew point air up across Dubuque and Minneapolis and Green Bay, that's what's heading our way as we go into the second half of the week. In the meantime, tropical storm watches as far north as Maine. Tropical storm warnings, Boston, New York City, Philly, D.C., Baltimore, all the way down to Raleigh, and it's a hurricane warning for the Myrtle Beach area. Isaias is not the most impressive looking system. It never has been. It's always been a little bit just kind of a mess to look at, but it's a strong tropical storm as of the 5 p.m. advisory with winds of 70, gusts 85, north-northeast movement at 16. Puts it on track to make landfall this evening right around the Myrtle Beach area, heading up towards Wilmington. And this will then race up the eastern seaboard. It's going to produce a heavy rain threat for a lot of the mid-Atlantic states up into New England, but its forward speed will help to keep the rainfall totals from getting too out of control. But still, some flooding issues may ensue eastern North Carolina, parts of South Carolina, up towards Virginia Beach, up through the big cities along the I-95 corridor as well. Back here at home, our rain chances will become elevated once again as we go into the midday and afternoon on Tuesday. We have our cold front heading our way. It's going to squeeze out a scattering of showers with the possibility of thunder. I think this will, again, start to ramp up right around midday, take us into the afternoon. But, boy, is the air going to feel nice tomorrow night. In the wake of that front, by Wednesday, the dew points will be crashing. High pressure will build in. Weather looks really nice second half of this week. So the dew points in the 60s will give way to dew points mostly in the 50s, perhaps even lower than what you see graphically shown here Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. I wouldn't be surprised if the dew points are actually closer to 53, 54 in a lot of spots by the tail end of Wednesday. So this is a little brief respite from summer, lasts a few days, but summer's far from over because next week looks pretty warm. And this is a big, broad trough, or a ridge of high pressure, I should say. Ridge of high pressure centered over the middle of the country. This is a behemoth ridge that's going to encompass a lot of the U.S. as we go into next week. You see that reflected on the CPC 6 to 10 day outlook, showing elevated odds of above average temperatures during this period, pretty much from the Rockies on east. It's just the West Coast that could be a little bit cooler than average. So we will see lots and lots of 80s next week, maybe even flirting with 90 on occasion. So if you're not a big fan of that kind of heat, enjoy what's coming our way Wednesday, Thursday, and even into Friday as well. The warmth will really start to kick back in by the weekend. But as of now, our weekend forecast is a dry one. Should be a more benign weekend than the one we just had to open August. And the humidity will stay in check, I think, until maybe Sunday, and certainly into early next week. The humidity should become a little more of a story. Thanks for watching Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11. Make sure you're subscribing to all these videos on my YouTube channel. And we'll have a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Same place that you're watching right now. Same time. Generally, these are getting online by about 6:30 or so each evening.